Joined now by with the head coach of the Minnesota State Mavericks, Mike Hastings. Mike, let's talk a little bit about what's been going on here during the break for you and your squad, and what we can look forward to tomorrow night hosting Minnesota Duluth here in Mankato.
First of all, happy holidays to the people that are with us today. It's been an exciting week just because we're getting back after the longest break that we've had. And this is my 10th year for our guys to be out of here for 2 weeks is a long time. And I think it was good. They got back and were able to see the most important people in their lives, family and friends, and have come back with a great attitude. We've had a really good week. And we're looking forward to playing an outstanding opponent in University of Minnesota Duluth. I think it'll be a great test for us coming right out of break and getting right back into some real quality hockey. So we're excited about the opportunity to play in our own building on Thursday.
Questions for Mike? Raise your hand feature, please. Let's start with Kevin Dudley. I don't see Kevin has his hand up, but we'll start with Kevin.
Hey, Mike. Just the COVID stuff that's been going around, whether it's the World Juniors, NFL, NBA, NHL, it's everywhere impacting sports. And it's really been, I think, even a big change since we last talked. Is that something you've addressed with your team here in terms of, not that you haven't been tight with what you've been doing, but just a renewed focus on really maybe trying to keep your bubble a little tighter?
Absolutely. Almost daily. And not that we're doing anything other than just reminding to be aware of what you're doing. And if you don't have to get out and about in groups, let's not. Let's make sure that we're trying to stay as tight as we possibly can, whether that's back with the guys where they're living, the dorms, or in their apartments, and just try and mitigate the risk as much as we can, because you're seeing what you're seeing at the World Juniors, and then being a part of that previously, and then looking at what we went through a year ago, trying to keep our players, our staff, everybody, in a position to be able to compete. It's something that we just got to be aware of and continue to go with. And again, you're seeing, I think, even with the greatest of efforts, you're still seeing it become part of an equation on if you can or if you can't. And so with that, we try and control what we get to control and go from there. But again, these guys have been through something similar to this, and they've been really good at taking care of what they can control and doing with it and turning the page every day and starting over it. So hopefully we can continue on that path so we can have an opportunity to play tomorrow night.
Dan Myers, you have a question?
Yeah, Mike, in terms of that, kind of in that realm, you expect to have everyone available tomorrow night. You haven't had any situations with that, knock on wood?
Yeah, we've been, and again, like I'll reference you, Dan, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
We're moving through that. We're in a pretty strong position coming out of break. We're 100% vaccinated, even though I believe everybody World Juniors was in the same situation, but they still had individuals pop positive. But as far as our health, when it's related to COVID, we're in a good spot. And again, every day when I wake up and turn that phone over and there's no messages from Matt Schmidt, our trainer, and there's nothing from our players, it's a really good day. It's a good start to your day, and I'm hoping that's how it starts tomorrow.
Kevin, do you have a follow-up question?
Mike, in terms of maybe non-COVID related the status of your team, I know just anybody in doubt at all this week in terms of that. I know Julian Napravnik at the end of the last Bemidji game you mentioned might have sustained an injury. Just anything in terms of that.
Yeah, right now, Julian's 100% cleared, doing very well. We've got Nathan Smith stay today on a lower body injury, and we're going to continue to monitor that through tomorrow and through the weekend. And but as far as COVID, as any other physical issues, everybody else is clean.
Don Westfall and Tim Rapoli.
Mike, a little bit of a different question here. Obviously, Thursday, Saturday, this weekend, we've done that. We have another one coming up a few weeks with St. Thomas. Have you become a fan of these split games where the day off in between, or maybe you want a little more time, and we'll ask me that in a few weeks after we get done with the St. Thomas series?
You know what, I'd probably say that. But one thing that I think we've learned, not only through the pandemic, but let's go back, I'd say 2 years ago when we started flirting with the 7 o'clock Friday, 6 o'clock Saturday. We've seen, and again, I think there's a lot of different reasons for an uptick in our attendance, but the feedback that we've gotten from the community and businesses hasn't been a negative one when we've gone from the 7 o'clock to the 6 o'clock. Now, through the pandemic, you were just looking to try and find a way to participate in the game and go out and compete. So we'll see. We've done it once already with St. Thomas. We've got this coming up. I think it allows. We're in Minnesota. Sometimes you're at the mercy of the weather, and so for us to be able to play Thursday and then have Duluth get back home, sleep in their own beds, us to stay here, travel on Friday. I just think it's something that's a little unique when we can be able to go and play teams like Duluth, like St. Cloud that are within the footprint of our state, but not tax our athletes as much as going with a back-to-back in those. So, we'll see how it goes, but I think that will come out in the wash by the end of this experiment a little bit on the Thursday, Saturday. And it's something that we're trying to just walk through before we start running on if it's something that we want to continue to do.
Tim?
Coach, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you. You see a team that might be a mirror image of you. You expect to see Duluth in the NCAAs. You know their coach very well. There's a great goaltending matchup. Can you start talking about the game within the game, some of the X's and O's that you expect to see out there?
Yeah, in a nutshell, I'm going to tell you, we're going to have to earn our win. We're going to have to earn everything we get. They're well coached. They're disciplined. I think they have 5 or 6 super seniors, guys, that have been through some very important games. They're consistent in what their effort and their attitude is. So you do know what you're going to get. There's some guys on that team that I think, can make you sit up and pay attention because they come at you with their depth. Their defensive core is a team that manages the game extremely well. They come out of their end in groups of 5. They enter your zone in groups of 5. Their defensemen get active offensively. The forwards come back and defend with their defensemen. And they have outstanding goaltending. A lot of these guys have grown up in today's world playing against each other, whether it's in junior hockey, whether now it's, we've had a pretty consistent relationship of Duluth on our schedule, us on their schedule, a year in and year out here since Ryan Sandlins, came here. And I think it's healthy. I think it's something that a lot of people, and you'll see tomorrow, I've looked at what I think the crowd's going to be, and I think there's a lot of interest in tonight's game. And I haven't talked to Scotty here in the last couple of days, but I have to believe the game up in Duluth is going to be something that people want to come and see. And so when you're judging your own team, you want to go against teams that are going to make you better, and this team definitely makes us better every time we play them.
Dan Myers, do you have a question?
Yeah, what's that relationship like with you and Scott? I know, during that recruiting process where Ryan made pretty clear that he didn't probably want to play for his dad, but I know that as a dad, he was probably very involved in that recruiting process and may or may not have helped steer him your way. I mean, there's got to be a lot of trust there and a very good relationship there with you and Scott, right?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think there's 2 sides in it. One, I've got a friendship with him. He gave me an opportunity to be on his staff with USA Hockey in the World Juniors when it was in Grand Forks. We've kind of come up together a little bit in our careers as far as timing. And there's respect there. He was kind enough to come and be part of my staff when we were in Vancouver. And so we've known each other for quite a long time. So there's a personal respect. I think both our wives, Wendy and Jean Ann get along very well. And so we've spent some personal time, and that's something that's very important, I think, to us. And I hopefully feel that Sandy and Wendy feel the same way. Then the professional side, the recruiting piece, it wasn't Scotty that was in there, it was Wendy. So Scotty's got a tremendous relationship, as Wendy does, with Ryan. They allowed Ryan to do what Ryan wanted to do. He approached him and just said, "Hey, Ryan, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go?" And then let the recruiting process happen. But professionally, I've learned a lot from Scott. I look at him and what he has accomplished with his multiple coaching staffs at the University of Minnesota Duluth in all college hockey. If you don't respect that, I don't think you have your eyes open. They've done just what they do on a consistent basis to get to the NCAA tournament, and then to perform how they do at the end of the year. I want to get better every day. So you want to look at things when you see somebody have the success that Duluth has had, you want to learn from it. And so for me, there's two sides of it. I think we'll get together when he gets here and we'll spend some time together. And then when the puck drops, neither one of us wants to be on the losing side of that slate. And then once the game is over, we'll go back to the personal side and wish each other the best in the second half. And hopefully we have an opportunity to both be in the NCAA tournament at the end of the year. And when that happens, you never know when you might see each other again.
We have another question for Mike. Dan, you have another question?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay. With Ryan specifically, I remember talking to you about him when he was, before he was on campus, and his ascent, he got better every year playing junior hockey. And you can see the same ascent now. It seems he's getting better every weekend still, even as a junior. I mean, is that the hallmark, do you think, of someone who's a coach's kid, someone who's coachable and someone who always wants to get better, and you see those results almost every weekend on the ice, a kid that just gets better and better all the time?
I'm going to say I've been fortunate to coach some players and a few players that have been sons of coaches, and those young men usually have a tendency to grow up in a locker room or around a locker room because it's what their dads do. It's where they spend the majority of their off time. And, I think you can learn a lot from your environment. And the one thing that I'll say that I respect Ryan about, one of many things, is just he's not easily satisfied. And if he has a good day, he parks that and he moves on to the next day and tries to build that success again. And if he has a bad day, he's a really good self-evaluator and understanding and looking at when he is not successful and trying to make sure that he doesn't replicate that effort or have that outcome. If it has anything to do with his effort or his attitude, he learns from it. And, I'm proud of the season he's putting together. But I'm even more proud of the work that he's put in up until that point. If you look at this season, I think it's a continuation of him playing his best hockey at the most important time of the year a year ago at the regional when we were, in Loveland, and how he stepped up with a few of his line mates and made a real impact on that regional and got us to a Frozen Four. And he had a really good summer. He put a lot of work in, and his attitude was that he was going to be a better player this year than he was last year. And I really don't see that has changed from him going all the way back to when we first recruited him. He was in high school, ends up going to junior hockey. And as you've already said, he has a tendency to continue to get better. And I think that's what he's doing right now.
Mike, thanks very much. Good luck this weekend against UMD.
Thanks, Paul. All the best.
Take it easy, everybody. Thanks for joining us. See you at the rink.